So not only was this one of the more recent Disney Pixar movies, but also I felt like it would work really well just because death is a big part of the movie. Now, the Day of the Dead is not a particularly sad or scary holiday, but skull motifs are really associated with death and scary things, so I thought I could make it work. In this version that I've created in my head, Miguel has basically snapped because his precious guitar that's the only thing he loved was smashed in front of him, and now the guitar string that was flung from his shattered guitar is now his weapon of choice. I don't know if guitar string would work as well as piano wire, but I definitely wanted to get that scary sort of hitman, serial killer kind of vibe. And I definitely wanted him to have an expression that almost kind of speaks to like a Damien sort of vibe, just because, you know, he's a young kid, so you've really got to work to make him look properly scary. And I really like his red hoodie for a scary design. I mean, red is a color that embodies a lot of different emotions, but in a scary context, obviously it works really well because, you know, blood and everything. And having the hoodie up obviously makes someone seem more mysterious in a way that can definitely be scary. This combination of the skull painted on the face as well as the hoodie being up kind of reminds me of Legion from Dead by Daylight, or the babyface killer from Happy Death Day. It's just giving me very much like a slasher vibe, and I know he's kind of too young to fall into that role, but I definitely can see it, and I think it's the right direction to go for him rather than making him like a proper monster. I honestly really liked a lot of things about Coco, but if you really want to look for an animation about the Day of the Dead, I highly recommend Book of Life. It was produced by Guillermo del Toro and both written and directed by a Mexican animator, Jorge Gutierrez. And I feel like it is such a underrated movie. Like, so few people have seen it, and practically everyone has seen Coco. So since Book of Life came out first, honestly, it made me kind of resent Coco when it first came out because I felt like they were getting ripped off. But they are very different stories. But anyway, if you liked Coco and you're interested in the Day of the Dead, you should definitely check out Book of Life. It is such a cool movie, and it has a scene in it that literally brings me to tears every single time. So yeah, anyway, I digress. My Miguel serial killer, I think, is looking absolutely unhinged, and I kind of love how he came out. I do wish you could see the paint drips down his neck a little easier though. The next design is Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and I know what you're saying, that's not a modern Disney movie, but I have to give myself credit because the live-action Beauty and the Beast is pretty modern, and it actually brought back to the sort of the table for discussion Beast's design. It was kind of a big talking point when that live-action came out, and I think that Beast's design is a very complicated thing because they basically have to create this lion gentleman creature that's supposed to be very scary and intimidating, but also believably someone that Belle could fall in love with. And because this is a movie sort of centered around this monster character, I really wanted to lean in and make him a little more monstrous. I think they did a decent job in the original of walking that line. I actually think they pushed it more than a lot of movies would. He does not look like a person. He really does look like a animal-faced kind of creature. But I think we could go a little bit further with it. I think the direction I ended up going was more of a body horror, sort of putting yourself in these shoes, because truthfully, that is the horror in Beauty and the Beast. It's not her really having to see him, because pretty soon, depending who you ask, she either gets Stockholm Syndrome, or alternatively, he just turns out to be a much nicer kind of character, and he seems very human, so their whole monster human relationship doesn't seem so off. It's mostly just surface level. He's a person under a curse. So the real horror of the story is that this young person makes a mistake and then is forcibly transformed into a different kind of creature. So I didn't want to just go with the standard lion head over top a fancy outfit. I wanted to really lean into the morphing and the almost sort of cancerous encroachment of monster parts on this person. So I have not only the teeth sort of bursting out from the lips, but even a love the way that some animals, when their tusks grow too long, they kind of shoot through the cheeks and stuff. I wanted to really get that in there. It makes it look scarier, less natural. And I wanted to add more like sort of just like crazy splitting of the horns. Just kind of like there's unimpeded growth. Things are happening that aren't supposed to happen. This isn't an animal that evolved naturally. This is a blight upon a person. I wanted to give off that kind of impression, and I think that kind of monster approach with Beast would be really interesting, because I think Beauty and the Beast is typically very centered on how Belle feels, and I think that it's kind of a more interesting story to find out how the Beast came to be this way, because, I mean, talk about a traumatic sort of climax of a story for him to be transformed like this, but instead it's all relegated to before the story even starts. I hope you guys enjoyed my scary renditions of these cute Disney characters. Let me know if there's any other characters you'd like me to do this with, and I will. Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and today I'm going to be trying to cutify things that are inherently creepy. So I'm going to do 5 basic movie monsters and try to make them endearing despite the fact that their designs are really only intended to be scary. So I'm starting with the Masked Killer from Scream. This is one of my favorite movie franchises. I haven't seen the TV show yet, but I intend to, and I thought this would be a good one to start off with because it has fairly limited actual design elements. It's really just this big black cloak, a mask, and a knife. So I was trying to figure out how to make this face cute. It's really difficult because it's really creepy. I mean, that long, weird mouth and those like dark, soulless eyes are very creepy. I tried to make him look surprised in a cute way, but that didn't really work. Again, props to the designers of this mask because it is really unsettling. It's really hard to make it cute, even if you're chibify the design. So basically what I ended up deciding to do was to make it look more like a kid's proportions to make it cuter. I also covered up the hands with these sort of long sleeves because that doesn't look very threatening, I think. And I tried to really emphasize this downturned eye that makes him look sort of sympathetic. And I was going to put padding on, and I realized that made no sense whatsoever, so I backed off of that. And basically just tried to make him look like he has sort of an insecure little smile on. And I took his knife away because the knife was making him look scary. I also decided to give him a fuzzy cloak instead of just a sort of shiny kind of cloak.